My boyfriend's childhood friend sent a bracelet as a wedding gift. I accepted it with a smile. But then I turned around and gave the bracelet to a cleaning lady at my office who had a terminal illness. This was because wearing the bracelet for 2 weeks would swap souls with the person who gave it. His childhood friend wanted to become me? Dream on. Hey Sarah, this is a gift from Emily to apologize. We hope you won't hold her rude behavior against her. My boyfriend's childhood friend's parents sincerely offered a fancy bracelet and a well-behaved, cute ragdoll cat. Looking at the scene that felt familiar, I blinked in disbelief. Was I reborn? But my future mother-in-law Lisa scoffed. All right, Abby, take it. This bracelet is worth several years of your salary. And this ragdoll cat is Emily's favorite pet. If she's giving it to you, you better take good care of it. Seeing me stunned, Lisa took the bracelet and was about to put it on me. I was so scared I slapped her hand away. She got really mad. Abby, what do you mean by that? Emily already gave you a gift to apologize. Are you going to keep making a fuss and not let it go? Hearing that, everyone around started looking at me unhappily. I calmed myself down and forced a smile. Mom, Emily is just being childish. There's no way I'd actually be mad at her. It's just that this bracelet is too expensive, and there are a lot of people here today. I'm worried about losing it, so I'll wear it after the wedding. Lisa, as expected, scoffed at me, calling me a bumpkin who didn't fit in. Emily's parents and the ragdoll cat all had a mocking look in their eyes. Only my boyfriend comforted me. Sarah, if you don't like this bracelet, don't wear it. My heart was touched, but my brow furrowed. In my past life, I took into account the feelings of Lisa and Emily's family. I wore the bracelet without a second thought, and accepted the ragdoll cat. And because of that, the tragedy happened. The ragdoll cat always looked incredibly well behaved in front of people. But behind closed doors, it would go crazy and scratch my hands and feet, and also claw at all the gifts my boyfriend gave me. Whenever my boyfriend wanted to spend time alone with me, the ragdoll cat would lie on the floor and cry hysterically. Lisa would immediately make a big deal out of it and tell us to take it to the vet. But once we got to the vet, the ragdoll cat would act like nothing was wrong, jumping into my boyfriend's arms for cuddles and attention. Lisa used the opportunity to stir up trouble. This cat is probably like its previous owner, in love with Jake. It gets agitated whenever it sees its owners being too affectionate. If you ask me, you two should sleep in separate rooms first to give the kitten some time to adjust. I came from a poor background, and Lisa already didn't like me. If my boyfriend hadn't been so determined to marry me and not Emily, who he grew up with, I would never have been able to marry into the Miller family. To change Lisa's opinion of me and make a good impression, I obeyed everything she said in my previous life. She told us, the newlyweds, to live separately for a month, and I kept trying to convince my boyfriend. She told me to wear the bracelet every day and never take it off, and I did exactly that. But 2 weeks later, I woke up from a dream and was shocked to find myself locked in a cage. Lisa, Emily's parents, and the person who had taken over my body were all looking at me with delight. This soul-swapping spell actually worked. It worked. The Miller family's daughter-in-law can only be Emily. If Jake hadn't threatened his own life, how could I have let this fishmonger's daughter marry into our family, making us a laughingstock for so long? Hearing Lisa's words, the person occupying my body laughed heartily. Oh, Mrs. Miller, you love Emily the most. Emily will definitely be dutiful to you in the future. Give the Miller family lots of descendants, and take good care of Jake. That's when I realized that Emily had never given up on winning Jake's love. To do this, she spent a lot of money on a soul-swapping spell, putting her soul into the ragdoll cat, and putting the spell on the bracelet. Lisa helped her by watching me every day. This was how the spell successfully worked. Emily, feeling smug, then glared at me with hatred. You bitch. You think you can use whatever seductive tricks you learned somewhere to cling to Jake and marry into a wealthy family, changing your humble background? Dream on. Let me tell you, Jake can only be my Emily's. So any bitch who seduces Jake should die, and you dirty lowlife cat, even more so. She ordered the servants to throw me into a shredder and grind me to pieces. I screamed in terror, trying to get my boyfriend's attention. But my boyfriend was led away by Lisa and the others on some excuse. I was in pain and despair, and I died tragically in the end. After I died, Emily, wearing my face, lived a very comfortable life with my boyfriend. Not only did she quickly get pregnant and have his child, she also got half of the Miller family's fortune just by having a child. Loving couple, harmonious mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, dutiful children, Emily became the object of everyone's envy in their circle. But who remembered the little cat that was abused to death, and the pathetic me? But luckily I was reborn. This time, I will make sure Emily gets a soul swap of her own. I work as a jewelry designer in a small company. Besides designing original pieces, making a high-quality replica bracelet is naturally easy. So, after the wedding, I used the excuse of urgent company business to take the bracelet Emily gave me and made a fake one. By the time I finished everything, it was already broad daylight. I didn't rush home but went to an alley downstairs from my office. I saw the cleaning lady I had met once before, hunched over, rummaging for food in a trash can. I had heard from a gossipy colleague before. This auntie was over 60 and had an abusive, alcoholic husband at home. Life was already hard, and 2 months ago, she was diagnosed with advanced lung cancer. Her husband kicked her out, and her 2 unfilial children also didn't care about her. But the auntie was genuinely nice. Before, when I was overwhelmed with work and forgot my period date, she ran up and down to buy me supplies when I unexpectedly got it. When she was working as a cleaner in our building before, she always kept the office area very clean. She would also help us water the plants. Spotting me, the auntie was startled. I just wanted to find some food. I won't affect the building's image. Please don't chase me away. I smiled, took out the bracelet that had the spell on it from my pocket, and handed it to her. I tentatively asked, "Auntie, if you had a chance, would you want to keep living in pain and waiting for death, or live a different life?" The auntie was stunned for a moment, her eyes turning red. "Lung cancer is too painful. I want to live." So, I solemnly put the bracelet on the auntie's wrist. And I told her to wear it 24 hours a day and never take it off, no matter where she went. To prevent her gambling husband and ungrateful children from causing trouble and trying to snatch the expensive bracelet, I also rented her a room for 2 weeks. After finding the perfect person for the soul swap, I went home feeling exhausted. Lisa saw the red bracelet peeking out from my sleeve, and her expression was full of satisfaction. "This bracelet is a limited edition that Emily specifically got for you from abroad. It's priceless. You must take good care of it. Although you're already married to Jake, and the Miller family doesn't care about your salary, but it's good for a woman to have a career. If you have work, just go ahead and be busy. I'll take care of Jake." Before the soul swap, Lisa had promised Emily that she would do everything she could to prevent Jake from getting close to me. So Lisa acted completely out of character, not only not telling me to quit my job and stay home, but also encouraging me to focus on my career. But would I let her and Emily, who was now a cat, be so comfortable? I smiled. "Mom, thank you for your kindness. But Jake and I have discussed it. We just got married, and we're not in a hurry to focus on our careers, so I took a month off." Lisa exploded when she heard that. The ragdoll cat in her arms also suddenly stood up and glared at me fiercely. "Abby, do you think you can do whatever you want now that you're married into the Miller family? You didn't even tell me you were taking time off. You completely disrespect me." Lisa's face was stern, and she insisted I call my boss immediately and cancel my leave. But I immediately called Jake. "Hey Jake, come down quickly. Your mom is bothering me again. I was busy with work all night and didn't rest at all. Not only is she not being considerate, but she's also not letting me rest and is forcing me to cancel my leave and go back to work." Hearing that, Jake immediately came down from the second floor. He said to Lisa with a cold face, "Mom, we agreed that when Sarah married in, you wouldn't interfere with her affairs." Lisa said anxiously, "I'm not interfering at all. It's clearly her, Abby, who's being disobedient and thinks she can live off the Miller family now that she's married in." Jake retorted, "Sarah is my wife, and it's perfectly normal for her to spend my money. If you can't handle that, we'll move out today." Lisa wouldn't allow that, so she could only pretend to back down and said she would try her best to comply. The ragdoll cat was so anxious that it kept scratching Jake's pants leg. Seeing this, Lisa said, "This ragdoll cat is clingy, Jake, hold it more." Seeing that Jake didn't think much of it, and was about to bend down. I immediately covered my head and said I felt dizzy. Jake immediately kicked the ragdoll cat away and picked me up in a princess carry. The ragdoll cat that was left behind suddenly bared its teeth and tried to bite. I shivered with fear. Jake, this cat seems to really hate me. Look at its eyes, like it wants to eat me. Jake glanced at it with disgust. Indeed, the owner dictates the cat. Emily is a troublemaker, and the cat she raised isn't good either. Jake ignored Lisa's objections and directly ordered the servants at home. The ragdoll cat was not allowed near our bedroom. But what kind of person was Emily? The more you told her not to do something, the more she would do it. Late at night, the ragdoll cat secretly snuck into our bedroom. When I heard the movement, I immediately snuggled into Jake's arms and acted cute, wanting to be intimate. Jake chuckled, rolled over, and was about to get on top of me. The ragdoll cat jumped onto the bed in anger and kept baring its teeth and hissing at me. It was exactly like Emily, who was always throwing tantrums and causing trouble in the past. I deliberately let out a soft moan, challenging it. Jake, this cat is really like its former owner, so annoying. Why don't you muzzle it? Otherwise Mom will hear the noise later and come in to spoil the mood. Jake was breathing heavily, his upper body bare, beckoning to the ragdoll cat. The ragdoll cat was practically drooling over Jake's physique. Its eyes narrowed into slits, and it slowly approached him. Just as it was about to put its claws on his abs, Jake quickly grabbed the fur on the back of the cat's neck. He securely put the muzzle, which I handed him, on it and locked it in the empty wardrobe nearby. The ragdoll cat was so angry it kept scratching the wardrobe with its claws, making a harsh scraping sound. But Jake and I ignored it and continued with our baby-making activities. After failing to get the better of me multiple times, the ragdoll cat's eyes became even darker. The next day, Lisa used an excuse to invite a bunch of her friends and relatives over. Even Emily's parents came. To avoid interacting with them, I hid in the kitchen, helping the servants with the desserts. But those two pests still clung to me. Emily's mom, holding the ragdoll cat, invited me upstairs to talk. But just as we were halfway up the stairs, the ragdoll cat suddenly jumped down, accompanied by a piercing meow. It rolled down the stairs. Emily's mom immediately became furious. Abby, you're truly vicious. Emily gave you her most beloved pet cat, and you actually threw the cat downstairs right in front of me. Looking at the cat lying limp on the ground, unable to move for a long time, the onlookers immediately started whispering. I can't believe Abby is this kind of person. She must have abused small animals behind the scenes. Definitely. Emily will be heartbroken if she knows her cat was beaten like this. Sigh, I really don't understand what kind of taste Jake has. He has Emily, who's rich, beautiful, and grew up with him, but he goes for this low-class woman who doesn't fit in. Just as everyone was discussing heatedly, Jake pushed his way through the crowd. Emily's dad gnashed his teeth and started stirring up trouble. Jake, this is the good wife you found. Abusing the cat Emily gave you in front of so many people. You have no regard for the relationship between our two families. Lisa glared at me with disgust. Jake, I think it's because you protect Abby too much, making her completely ignorant of proper behavior. If you ask me, we should just send her back to her family for a while until she learns her lesson. The ragdoll cat, limping, tried to stand up shakily, but it ultimately couldn't bear the pain and fell down again. As it fell, it pitifully meowed at Jake. Everyone present was waiting for Jake to give me a good lesson. Jake ignored them and walked straight towards me. He asked in a low voice, Sarah, is what they're saying true? I immediately pouted sadly, tears welling up in my eyes. I choked out, I didn't do any of that. Aunt Emily was holding the cat, and I don't know what she did, but the cat suddenly went crazy and jumped down the stairs. Emily's mom was furious. Abby, you're talking nonsense. You clearly couldn't stand seeing how good Emily's relationship is with your mother-in-law, and you deliberately abused the cat in front of me. Now you're trying to frame me. Lisa also looked at me with disdain. You're such a jealous girl. You saw the childhood friendship between Emily and Jake, and you deliberately spread rumors about Emily in front of her to mess up her relationship with Jake. Now that she's brought the cat to apologize, you're deliberately trying to kill the cat to prevent it from getting close to Jake. Emily's dad, shielding his face, banged on the table. Abby, if you don't want to keep the cat, just give it back to us. How can you treat a cute life like this? Jake, we watched you grow up too. Now that your wife is doing something so shameful, don't you need to discipline her and make her apologize to us? The relatives watching immediately spoke up. Exactly, Abby doesn't just represent herself. If she does something like this outside again, where will the Miller family's reputation be? Jake didn't say a word. I coughed and reminded them. Since we all have different stories now, let's just call the police. Lisa frowned unhappily. Call the police about what? If this gets out, it'll only embarrass the Miller family and your husband. I say we just make you apologize to Emily's parents and then pack your bags and go back to your family's house. You're not allowed to come back without my permission. Lisa signaled the servants with her eyes, wanting them to force me to apologize to Emily's parents. But Jake protected me. If everyone's memory is a bit fuzzy, I can remind you that I'm the one in charge of the Miller family now. And since the matter hasn't been investigated thoroughly, it's not right for you to rush to convict my wife, is it? Lisa said impatiently. There are witnesses now who can prove that Abby dropped the cat. Isn't that enough? I poked my head out from behind Jake. Of course not. Emily's mom can say anything she wants and make things up. Emily's mom's face flushed with anger. Jake, I think you're really being blinded by beauty and getting more and more confused. Why would I, as an elder, frame her, Abby? Emily's dad even brought up his family's business partnership with the Miller family. If Jake couldn't handle me, then their previous business dealings would be off. Lisa was heartbroken and urged me not to be willful and ruin the Miller family's business. But I was amused. Mom, Aunt Emily, Uncle Emily, maybe you don't know, but there's a camera on the stairs. Lisa was stunned. Camera? When did that happen? I didn't know. Jake took my hand and replied. I had someone install it yesterday when you went shopping. I was afraid someone would try to stir up trouble with Sarah while I was away. Sarah is timid and well-behaved, and if there wasn't a camera as evidence, she would definitely be framed. It just came in handy. Jake told someone to get the camera footage and project it. Whether I dropped the cat or Emily's mom intentionally framed me, everything would be clear. Emily's mom suddenly felt guilty. Oh well, I was just startled by the cat's terrible state at the time, and I didn't really see clearly. I thought for a moment and reminded her. Aunt Emily, if I remember correctly, you were absolutely certain at the time that I snatched the cat from you and deliberately dropped it in front of you. Emily's mom's face turned bright red, and she couldn't say a word for a long time. Lisa helped her and glared at me resentfully. Since it was a misunderstanding, let's just clear it up. Your Aunt Emily is old. It's inevitable that she'll misremember or say the wrong thing sometimes. You're being too petty by dwelling on it. I looked confused and tugged at Jake's sleeve. Jake, is this how wealthy families handle things? You don't need to apologize after falsely accusing someone. I was really out of my mind in my previous life to work so hard to please Lisa. Since Jake is in charge of the Miller family now, why shouldn't I rely on the real backer? Hearing that, Jake immediately had someone play the camera footage. In the video, the ragdoll cat jumping down the stairs in a frenzy was clearly captured. It had nothing to do with me. Uncle Emily, Aunt Emily, now that things are clear, it's your turn to apologize to my wife. Lisa tried to smooth things over. Oh, come on, I told you it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't intentional. Why make Emily's parents apologize in front of so many people? How embarrassing. Jake's face was cold, and he looked directly at Lisa. Mom, when you were forcing Sarah to apologize, did you forget that she would also be embarrassed? It seems like you don't know how much it hurts until you're hit. Seeing that Lisa was about to argue again, Jake directly brought up her allowance money. If you hinder this again or say another word, I'll cut off one of your credit cards. Seeing that Jake was really angry, Lisa immediately shut up. Emily's parents exchanged glances and could only swallow their anger and bow to me in apology. Jake then said, I think Uncle Emily's suggestion just now made a lot of sense. Since the relationship between our two families is becoming increasingly distant, some of the business dealings don't need to continue. Emily's dad was furious. You, Jake Miller, you're insulting me like this for a woman. I'll wait to see the day you come begging me. Emily's parents angrily started to leave. Jake then kicked the ragdoll cat, which was pretending to limp on the stairs. Don't forget to take this crazy cat with you. It's just as crazy as Emily. I can't stand looking at it. Remembering what I promised the cleaning lady, I hooked my finger around Jake's. The cat is injured. Why don't we let it heal first? No need to rush sending it away. Lisa also eagerly nodded. Exactly, the cat is so cute, it's pitiful that it's injured. Seeing that I had spoken, Jake didn't object. So the ragdoll cat was kept in a separate room specifically for recovering from its injuries. On the day the 2-week limit was up, the ragdoll cat suddenly became agitated. It let out piercing cries and kept hitting the door with its body. I also suddenly felt dizzy and collapsed to the ground. When I woke up again, Lisa kept secretly looking at me. I completely changed my eating habits and was no longer polite to the servants. Lisa finally came closer. Are you Emily? I imitated Emily's actions and smirked evilly. Oh, Mrs. Miller, it's me, Emily. Thank you and Dad for everything you've done for me. From now on, I will completely replace Abby and help Jake make the Miller family bigger and stronger. Lisa pulled me closer, examining me, and smiled with satisfaction. It has to be our Emily. That Abby isn't even fit to carry your shoes. Since the soul-swapping spell was successful, I immediately called Emily's parents over. Their first instinct was to attack the ragdoll cat to release their anger from being publicly humiliated before. But I stopped them. Dad, you need to focus on important matters right now. Jake cut off his business with you. Our business must be affected, right? Emily's dad sighed with worry. Exactly. That young brat Jake is much more ruthless than his dad. Not only did he cut off business with us, but he also issued a notice in the industry, forbidding anyone else from working with us. If you came back any later, our family would be bankrupt. Emily's mom pulled my arm and pleaded. Emily, we've doted on you since you were little. Now that our family is in trouble, you can't abandon us. Quickly say something nice to Jake and tell him to stop. I touched my face. I just swapped over. If my personality changes too much all of a sudden, Jake will definitely suspect something. Okay, Dad, listen to me. Following our pre-planned scheme, I talked to Emily's dad. I told him to transfer all his assets to my name. Then I would sweet-talk Jake into using that money to help me invest in the Miller family's company. Dad, you know Jake's talent for investing. With him helping us manage things, you and Mom can enjoy life, travel, and just wait for the dividends at the end of the year. Emily's dad's eyes lit up. That's a great idea. When I wanted you to marry Jake, I wanted him to help me manage the company so Mom and I could retire early. Emily's mom suddenly slapped her head. Emily, there's something else I almost forgot. Now that you've successfully swapped souls, what should we do with your body in the hospital? To be safe, Emily had kept her comatose body in the hospital for treatment. If the soul swap failed, she could still find a way to return to her own body. But now that I knew about it, of course, I wouldn't give her another chance to turn things around. So I told Emily's mom, Mom, let's just get rid of that body. Tell everyone I died in a drunk driving accident so Jake won't have a chance to investigate. Emily's parents were about to act according to my plan. But when they went out, the cleaning lady suddenly appeared. Her face was pale, and she hugged Emily's mom's leg with a look of delight. Mom, it's me, Emily. Emily's parents were both shocked. I immediately kicked her aside and explained, Mom, Dad, this woman bumped into me before and heard me talking to a master about soul swapping. She's tried to blackmail me multiple times, and now she's trying to pretend to be me to change her fate. Emily's dad got angry and kicked her in the chest. Damn it, look at yourself, old woman. You dare pretend to be my daughter at your age? Do you believe I won't have someone skin you alive? You shameless tramp. His full force kick sent her flying. She also coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood. The cleaning lady started coughing violently and couldn't speak for a long time. This woman has cancer and won't live much longer. Mom, Dad, you should stay away from her bad luck in case she infects you. Seeing this, I motioned for Emily's parents to leave first. Seeing the car drive away in front of her, the cleaning lady's face was filled with anger and frustration. Abby, you bitch. You'll get what's coming to you. You ruined my soul-swapping plan and put me in this dying old woman's body. But don't be too happy. As long as I prove my identity to Mom and Dad, They'll definitely believe me and get revenge on you. As for Jake, he'll only be mine." Emily, who had swapped into the cleaning lady's body, was filled with unwillingness. But what could she do with all her unwillingness? With the face of someone nearly 80 years old, if anyone heard her say she was Emily, they would just think she was crazy. What's more, her current identity also came with an abusive husband and a pair of greedy children. But Emily didn't give up. At her funeral, she appeared again and approached Emily's parents, but just as she was about to speak to prove her identity, the man with a strong smell of alcohol and a bloated face jumped out. "You damn old hag, didn't I tell you not to wander around and cheat people all day? It's not enough that you ruined my reputation, now you want to get us into debt too." The man raised his hand and slapped Emily several times in the face. Emily's current body had cancer cells that had spread to multiple organs. She had used all her strength to drag her painful body to find Emily's parents. Now, after being beaten by the man, she had trouble even speaking. Just then, her children also ran out from outside. They apologized to Emily's parents with embarrassed looks. Uncle and aunt were sorry. "My mom is like this. She sees rich people and just wants to scam them. We locked her at home, but she stole the key and ran out again. I'm really afraid she'll have an attack on the way. And if she dies, it's fine, but she'll also drag others down." Hearing this, Emily's parents rolled their eyes at Emily. "You should be content. Your children are so dutiful, and your husband still cares about you. Don't keep causing trouble at your age, or you'll just hurt yourself and others." Emily kept shaking her head, trying to speak. The man with the bloated face directly covered her mouth. "Honey, these people are big bosses. They're very busy doing business every day. Don't keep wasting their time." The two children also came over and held Emily up. "Mom, if you're sick, let's go home and get treated. We, your children, will pay for everything. Don't go out and lie to people. If they investigate, it'll be troublesome." Under the struggle of the three of them, Emily ultimately couldn't talk to her parents. I pretended to be scared and kept crying. Emily's parents comforted me for a long time, calling me my dear, before I finally calmed down. Later, after I bribed them, the cleaning lady's husband and children took Emily directly to a mud brick house in the village. They bought a large lock and locked her in the house to teach her a lesson. Before they left, they also took the bracelet she was wearing, wanting to sell it for money. Emily was so angry she screamed hysterically inside. "You got it wrong. I'm not your wife or mom. I'm the only daughter of the Jiang group. If you take me to meet mom and dad, I'll definitely give you a generous reward afterwards." The abusive husband sneered. "You little slut, I know you. These are all lies you made up to get us to let you out so you can escape? Dream on." The ungrateful children took pictures of the bracelet to send to potential buyers while mocking Emily. "Mom, you're already old. Why are you still reading fantasy novels? The daughter of the Jiang group is being buried today. If we let you out to spread nonsense, it might cause a lot of trouble." "Exactly. You have advanced cancer and don't have many days left, but you should still accumulate good karma and stop causing us trouble. We can't handle those rich people." With that, the three of them left Emily, who was crying out to the heavens and the earth, and went straight back to the city. When I received the video, Emily's parents were transferring all the Jiang Group's money to my name. After the voluntary transfer contract took effect, Emily's dad was overjoyed. He had a bit too much to drink at the family dinner that day. With a drunken face, he happily patted Jake's shoulder and kept shouting, "Son-in-law, my Emily is in your hands from now on. You must treat her well." Lisa awkwardly tried to cover for him. "Your Uncle Emily just lost his daughter and is a bit out of his mind. Jake, don't mind him." Emily's dad glared at her. "Lost his daughter? My Emily didn't die. Look, isn't this my Emily?" He pointed at me with a trembling hand. But I laughed heartily. "Uncle Emily, what are you talking about? I'm Abby, not Emily." Jake also nodded repeatedly. "Uncle Emily, Emily was just buried a short while ago. If you saw her, you must have seen a ghost." Emily's dad was so angry his cheeks puffed out. "Impossible. My Emily is so smart, she used soul swapping." Before he could finish his sentence, his wife covered his mouth. Emily's mom said with a hint of apology, "Jake, you might not know, but your dad and I have adopted Abby as our goddaughter, So your dad got a little drunk and mixed Abby up with Emily. And to show our sincerity, we also temporarily transferred all our assets to Abby's name. Everyone looked at me, but I played dumb. Aunt Emily, what do you mean by temporarily? The contract I signed with you states that all of the Jiang family's assets are voluntarily gifted to me. This money will have nothing to do with you from now on. Emily's mom looked at me suspiciously for a long time. Emily, Sarah, are you kidding me? I ignored her and looked at Lisa with admiration. Mom, your plan was brilliant. You had me pretend to be Emily and trick the Jiang family out of all their money. This way, the Miller family's assets will increase significantly. Lisa was stunned. Emily's mom was so angry she flipped the table over and cursed, throwing cups. Lisa, you bitch, I treated you like a sister and helped you establish yourself in the Miller family all these years, but you're so heartless, plotting to steal my Jiang family's fortune. Emily's mom grabbed a chair and was about to throw it at Lisa. Lisa scrambled away, still trying to defend herself. Oh, my dear sister, don't be fooled by Abby. I just found out the soul-swapping spell failed. Hearing about the soul-swapping spell, Jake looked at me. Sarah, what do they mean by that? Who wanted to swap souls with whom? I patted his arm comfortingly, telling him not to worry. It was Emily who wouldn't give up on you. She bought some dark magic and put her soul into the ragdoll cat, hoping to swap souls with me this way, but luckily I saw through it. Jake's face tightened. So that cat was Emily. I knew it was as crazy as that lunatic Emily. Since the soul swap failed, where is Emily now? I smirked playfully. You'll have to ask Mom where the real Emily is. After all, Mom was the one who personally got rid of the bracelet that had the spell on it. Lisa gnashed her teeth in anger. Nonsense. My dear sister, don't believe a word Abby says. I watched Abby wear this bracelet the whole time. How could I have helped her harm Emily? But at this point, how could Emily's mom still believe her? Hearing this, she grabbed a wine glass and threw it at Lisa's forehead. It hit her and drew blood. Lisa, you did a good one. You dared to do this to our Emily and trick us. If we can't find Emily, you won't have an easy time either. I deliberately provoked her. You won't find Emily? I heard from Mom that she already appeared in front of you, but you two were too foolish to recognize her. After my hint, Emily's mom suddenly remembered. Her face turned pale. Impossible. That old woman couldn't be my Emily. Why not? Mom said Emily was vicious and delusional about marrying Jake, a pipe dream. To punish Emily, she specifically found an old, dying beggar. I smiled triumphantly. Emily's mom was so shocked she couldn't recover for a long time. Lisa lay on the ground crying out in injustice. Abby, you poisonous woman. I never did any of that. Why are you slandering me and causing trouble between me and my sister? But I had always been curious. Lisa married into the Miller family, which was clearly more prominent than the Jiang family. But she was so obedient to Emily's mom. Emily's mom wanted Emily to marry Jake, and Lisa helped the Jiang family find a way. I always felt like Emily's mom had some leverage over her. So I deliberately set up this trap, just to see if I could uncover some shocking secrets. Under Lisa's constant shouting, Emily's mom came back to her senses. She murmured to herself, "That's right, is Lisa crazy or stupid? Why would she help Abby go against me? Is she not afraid of me revealing what happened years ago?" Seeing this, I took out my phone and played a news report. The video reported that a deceased person was found in a mud house in a certain mountain village during the day today. The deceased was 65 years old and had been diagnosed with advanced cancer. Her family not only refused to pay for her treatment, but also locked her in the house without food. She eventually died alone after starving for 3 days. I clicked on the photo of the deceased and zoomed in for Emily's mom to see. Aunt Emily, does this person look familiar to you? Emily's mom rubbed her eyes in disbelief. This is my Emily. Lisa, you wicked woman, you actually swapped my precious daughter into that kind of family and caused her to starve and die in pain. Emily's mom cried in grief, a hint of cruelty flashing in her eyes as she looked at Lisa. Lisa, you think just because you killed Emily and ruined my Jiang family, no one will know about the evil things you did back then? Jake, do you know how your real mom died? This beast named Lisa poisoned her. She coveted her cousin's husband, so she used her knowledge of making medicine. secretly taking a little from school every day, and putting it in the juice her cousin drank, watching her slowly being poisoned to death. After she successfully married your dad, to prevent you and your dad from disliking her, she went to the hospital and had her uterus removed. This way, both you and your dad were deceived by her and truly treated her as family. But who would have thought that the real killer of your wife and mother was actually the person closest to you? Emily's mom completely exposed Lisa's dirty secrets. Lisa panicked for a second, then stubbornly insisted, "Jake, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just seen her daughter die and her fortune given to Sarah, so she's deliberately framing me, wanting to make the Miller family suffer forever." But Emily's mom grinned. "Deliberately framing you? How do you know I didn't secretly film you poisoning her back then?" She stumbled and took out her phone, pulling up the video she had saved from years ago. Jake's body trembled with anger when he saw it. "Lisa, you actually killed my mom and dared to let me call you mom for so many years. You deserve to die." Jake's eyes were red with anger, and he kept looking for something to use on the ground. I was so scared I hugged him tightly, stopping him from doing anything foolish. I also signaled the servants to pour cold water on Emily's dad. Under the stimulation of the cold water, Emily's dad gradually regained his senses. He had been somewhat confused before, but after hearing the truth of the whole matter, he completely broke down. "Impossible. The person in Abby's body is clearly our daughter Emily. Our Emily couldn't have turned into an old woman and died. Impossible." I held Jake tightly, still stirring up trouble. "Why is it impossible? Lisa was the one who told me about the soul swapping, and she was the one who swapped the bracelet, and Lisa was also the one who told me to take all of your Jiang family's money." Emily's mom wanted to speak, but it was too late. Emily's dad, blinded by anger, picked up a knife and stabbed Lisa. 30 stabs, every single one fatal. Lisa died on the spot. Emily's dad was sentenced to life imprisonment for intentional homicide. Emily's mom, unable to accept the news of her daughter's death and being chased by creditors, eventually committed suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. The cleaning lady's husband and children, who harmed Emily, were also sentenced to 3 years in prison for negligence. As for the real cleaning lady, although she miraculously survived, she would have to live as a ragdoll cat for the rest of her life. Luckily, the Miller family was rich and powerful. When she was human, she didn't have a dedicated room to live in, nor could she enjoy a leisurely life with dedicated care. But luckily as a cat, she had it all. And